Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splinter vs. Baxter 2-pack from NECA Toys. That is right, my friends. I am continuing my look at the NECA TMNT stuff that's been coming out recently. I am way backlogged on these, but hey, Splinter and Baxter is showing up at Target stores right now, and I've got one here. I'm really excited to get this opened up and check it out. So of course this does come in the window box packaging we've seen for all of these figures so far. Has that great kind of turtle van motif. You've got animated images of Splinter and Baxter, but of course the window box shows the two figures and all of those accessories inside. I mean, so much going on with these figures. And then when we rotate that around to the backside, not only do we get some photos of the included figures, we can see a little cross-sell down here of some of the other figures, as well as a little bio here for the Ninja Turtles themselves. So pretty cool stuff, but let's get this box ripped open so we can get a look at the figures within. All right, we've got Splinter and Baxter outside of the packaging. Let's bring in the tape measure here because these dudes, they're tiny. So we got about 4.5 inches on Baxter, just shy of a full 5 inches. In fact, his ears go right up to about 5 inches on Master Splinter here. So these two dudes are very small, but as they should be, since they are based on the look of the characters from the animation. But don't worry, there's still a lot in this box set, including just an absolute ton of accessories that we're going to get into in just a bit. Let's go ahead and move Baxter off to the side. I want to start things off by taking a look at Master Splinter. First of all, the overall look of this guy is incredible. I mean, the sculpt work on this one, the paint work, everything about this really makes it look like the figure jumps straight out of the animated series. I love the overall look of him. And the small size, I don't know, there's something about that just makes it feel really cool. It's crazy because he's about the same size as the vintage Ninja Turtle Splinter action figure because all of those were in that 5-inch scale. So he's right in there with those. So it's weird that he feels so small, but he looks really, really great. So I've already got the little cane in his hand here because it's Splinter. You got to have the cane. But just looking at some of the details here, of course, he is wearing a cloth robe, which is very cool. You can see he's got the little ribbon kind of tied around his waist there that holds it together. We can kind of peek under the robe there to see the fully sculpted rat body underneath. But I love the robe. I think the cloth robe looks really good on this particular figure. The coloring is really nice, really seems to match up with the animated series look there. I love the details on the face. They always put that black, like real thick black line work on there that gives it that animated appearance, and that just works out really well on Splinter. I think that really brings out the features on his face. I like it quite a bit. And I do like this. The mouth is articulated on there, and that is really cool because that really does change just the overall expression that the figure gives. I mean, he looks completely different when you've got him posed with his mouth open as opposed with it closed. And it works really well. NECA's been doing a great job with the opening and closing mouths on a lot of these figures where it looks very natural. It works really well and definitely still manages to capture the look of the characters from the animation, whether the mouth is open or closed. I think that is really, really cool there. Of course, since he's a rat, he's got those big, long rat feet there. Then he does have his tail on the back. This does appear to have a bit of a bendy inside of it. Yeah, you can see it's actually like holding the shape and everything there, which is really nice. So that is very cool. It also does have the little hinge joint on there. So let's go ahead and run down all the articulation on this guy. He's got a very distinct body type. So this is what we've got. The head is jointed at the top and the bottom of the neck. In fact, you can see we've got like that very scruffy neck sculpt there, which is really cool. So you can move the head on top of that, which does roll around since it's on a ball joint, but the base of the neck is also moving around. So that is very, very nice there. I already showed you guys the opening and closing mouth. The arms do have that same kind of ball-like hinge joint there at the shoulders. Slightly hindered, of course, but not too bad there. You can still move the arms forwards and backwards as well. You can swivel at the elbow. You can bend at the elbow. This all seems to be working fine underneath the cloth robe. In fact, let me move that up. You can see it's actually a nice double jointed elbow. Look at that. How nice is that? So good range of motion there. Swivels at the wrist. Hinge joints at the wrist. We do have some articulation in the torso there that you can see. Then the legs are ball jointed, but the way they're sculpted, of course, for that rat-like stance is going to kind of limit you just a bit there. But we do have the joint at the knee. You can see there's a swivel at the top of the knee, then the actual bend at the base of the knee there, and then you do have the ball-like hinges at the ankles, which means they can also rock side to side, forwards and backwards. And then, since we got the big long feet, we do have the toe articulation, which is insanely tight on Splinter there, but you can move it up and down. You're probably going to get a little paint chipping like I just got right there. That does tend to happen on the joints on these figures. But overall, I think the articulation is really nice on here. Of course, you're going to move that robe around a little bit depending on how you're posing him. And you might have some instances where it kind of comes, undone. So watch that little strap there on the front to keep the robe looking really nice. So the figure looks great. He feels really good. Nothing about this guy feels fragile by any means. Like, I think he feels really solid. And even though his arms are a little bit thinner, they all feel really good. They seem to function well. In fact, he also does have interchangeable hands. And let me just kind of show you that real quick. You can see you can easily pop the hands out of socket there. They just got those little pegs. And we've got multiple hands that we can change in. We've got 2 gripping hands there. We've got some open hands. We got 2 open hands just like this. And then we've got these different hands that are sort of like in different poses. Like this one right here is like your pointing finger. And then we've kind of got a couple different like ninjutsu style poses there. So those are really cool. You can get those different hands put on there, match it up with some of the weapons, or you can have Master Splinter teaching lessons. All of that works out really well, and the interchangeability functions really good on this figure. So as far as the accessories that are specific to Master Splinter, I already showed you guys the cane, which is really nice, and he does get a good grip on it with the gripping hand there, so I like that quite a bit. That's like an essential Master Splinter accessory, but he also comes with a few other things. A lot of these are episode specific. For example, we do have a little rat, and it looks just like the way the rats were animated in the series. And we've also got his yin-yang medallion. And this is really cool because the rat's mouth and hands are molded so you can actually put the medallion in his mouth as if he's nibbling on it, which is definitely something that comes straight out of the animated series. I think that's a really fun accessory. We've also got a couple of books. We got one book that's just nice and beat up, but then of course we've got the art book there, which is opened up to the page with the famous artists, Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael. I love the details, like they were even colored, like the bandanas on the turtles. So that's a fun little accessory there. We also get this scroll accessory, and this is really fun. Because not only does it look cool, but there's definitely some little hidden funny stuff on there. I don't know if you guys noticed, that is definitely not actually Japanese. In fact, there's some jokes hidden in here. That first line reading downwards definitely says curly. This one, I can't really tell exactly what that's supposed to say, like be search, I guess. But then we've got I guess Besser? I don't know. Because then if you start down here, look, it totally says Shemp. It says Nyuk Nyuk. And then it says, what else we got over here? Soitenly is written over here. Okay, so what I'm getting at is we've got Three Stooges jokes written on here. Curly, Shemp, Nyuk Nyuk, Soitenly. It's silly stuff. I don't know if this is something that NECA just did for fun, or if this actually comes out of the cartoon somewhere. I'm not entirely sure, but when I really started looking at that, I just started laughing. I thought I got a good chuckle out of that. I thought that was fun. Then we've got the Flame Sword, and I know that this has an actual name. This was in the animated series. It's very distinct because it's got this very distinct hilt that is how it looks in the cartoon, and it was a sword that Splinter had that when you use the sword, it ignites on fire. So it's really cool because it does come with this little translucent fire accessory, which clips nice and solid on the sword there, so that way you've got the flaming sword that Splinter can use in battle. And we've also got this very cool little mat. So this is just made of a felt-like material, but it's still really neat. This is something that is perfect, especially for diorama builders. I've got a little hole in mine, unfortunately. Mine actually came out of the package with like this little slit. So that's how it was in the box. But it's still really nice. You can lay that down on the ground, and you can get some poses with Splinter meditating or doing some training on it. But I think that's a really fun little extra inclusion as well. So that's gonna bring us over to Baxter Stockman. Look at me making jokes from the 2012 series for the 87 cartoon. So Baxter is adorable. Let's be perfectly honest. This is so cute. This is how he appeared in the animated series. It's one of those things where it's really amazing because you really get a sense for how different they looked in the cartoon versus the original toys, and you really get to see that in a little bit when we do comparison time. But he's a tiny little guy, but still looks really cool. I mean, again, the overall sculpted details are fantastic. The colors are really nice on this guy. I especially love the way that the eyes are painted here. And he's got some great details, like he's got the orange hair on top. He's still wearing the bright yellow bow tie and his sweater vest. Really good stuff. When you flip him around to the back, you can see his wings, and he's got his little extra fly-like legs sticking out of his back with his torn sweater vest. Just a really, really fun-looking figure. And since he's a little tinier, the articulation's slightly different, but still similar to what we've seen on this line. Ball joint on the head works really well. You got those hinges at the shoulders, so the arms can go forwards, backwards, outwards. You got these double joints in the elbows, which are really interesting because those are long elbows, but it swivels up there basically at the bicep. Then you've got also that double joint there, swivels at the wrist. You've got the hinges at the wrist there. The torso is articulated under the sweater vest because this is actually like a softer, pliable material, which is great. You can see you can swivel them there. And then you got those ball joints at the thighs, so legs can kind of swivel around there. You got the double joints at the knees there, which is a good amount of flexibility. And then the ankles, it looks like they can move. They got the hinge joints. They're very, very tight on this figure, but they do also rock side to side. So really, really nice articulation. And of course, we can't forget the wings. They also have those nice hinge joints there. So look at that. We can swivel the wings. We can move the wings in and out, up and down. And then the same with the little fly arms there. Those are also swivels, but they also have the hinges there. So those are really cool as well. Really neat. He poses well. He balances well. He stands well. He feels good and solid. He probably could have benefited from a flight stand. That would have been really neat if that was included. But otherwise, I do like this guy quite a bit. Just like Splinter, he's got his own set of interchangeable hands, where he's got two that have trigger fingers, two that are a little more relaxed, and then two that are in closed fists. And again, just like with Master Splinter, you can easily pop those out of socket, pop the new ones in place. It's a nice solid fit, and you are ready for his various accessories, which includes this little plant and this little gun. But more importantly, he's got the larger mutagen style gun, which comes straight out of the animated series for sure. All this comes out of the animated series. This one feels a little more iconic and memorable. You can see it can be set on the dial to different animals there so that he can zap people and instantly mutate them, which actually plays into some of the other accessories here, such as Gerbil Mikey, which is just a fun little minifigure. It is not posable, but it is from when Michelangelo got turned into a little gerbil, or what looks more like a hamster, but they call him Gerbil Mikey. Really fun little accessory there. And we also get Fly Shredder, so that Shredder knows what it's like to be turned into a fly. Again, straight out of that episode there. But this is a fun little accessory. Again, no articulation. He's a tiny little dude, but he's painted pretty nicely. Looks really good. It's got a lot of that black line work on there, which can get a little sloppy sometimes, but for the most part, it's a fun accessory, and it actually does stand up on its own, which is really cool. And lastly, this is a really fun accessory. We've got the awesome little supercomputer here known as Z. This is like a sentient computer. I love that it actually has like the movable face there. It's got the lenticular sticker on there, so that way when you move it different directions, it looks like the face is moving. This is really cool, and it's really nicely painted, and it's a fun accessory. Again, one of those awesome like one-off type villains from the series that is associated with Baxter. And one of the things that's neat about this, in the series, this computer actually got like this translucent blue body. And if you look at the bottom of this, there's totally like a peg hole in here. Makes you wonder if NECA's planning some sort of add-on accessory at some point so that we'll have his body and we can actually plug it into this. That's pretty cool. It's at least neat that they're thinking ahead just in case. But even on its own, it's a really fun accessory. I always love getting the fun animation-specific accessories. All right, guys, it's comparison time. We're going to do a few of them here. Let's start with Master Splinter and start by comparing him to that vintage action figure from Playmates Toys, because I talked about the scale similarities between them. Always amazing looking at the differences, again, between the animated look and the original toy look. Really fun. In fact, on that note, let's go ahead and stand him alongside the recently released Master Splinter from Super 7. It's amazing looking at the difference between these two figures. They're both really great figures in their own right. They're just based on very different looks, and I love it. And one more I'm going to throw in there is another Master Splinter from the folks at NECA Toys, which is just comparing the movie version to the animated version. Now let's flip on over to Baxter Stockman for his comparison time with his vintage action figure from Playmates Toys, one that was always a favorite of mine. And once again, I want to bring in the Super 7 version of that just came out this past year. It's amazing. Like, the size difference is bonkers on these. But again, they are based on two very different looks, and they're both very cool action figures. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the Master Splinter and Baxter Stockman 2-pack from NECA Toys. This is a really good one. First of all, it's great to finally get Master Splinter to put with our Ninja Turtles. He's a very important member of the team, of course. But Baxter Stockman, also one of my all-time favorites. Love getting him to add to the bad guys. We've got so many iconic characters from the animated series now. And this set is just chock full of accessories. It was insane. Like, I'm going through them, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with all these, but I'm still happy that they come with them. I think it's always fun seeing the cool little things that they throw in that come straight out of the cartoon. That a lot of, I forget about a lot of this stuff. I always have to research this stuff, but I still love it. I love seeing it. All in all, I think this is a really good set. I think the figures feel great. I think they look great. So really definitely gets the thumbs up from me. And also, these guys have been showing up in really good quantities. It seems like a lot of people are finding these at Target. I do want to give a very special thanks to my buddy Toy Bro, because he helped me track these guys down. So thanks so much, buddy. And guys, thank you so very much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below. And until next time.